Hello and welcome to all our viewers on CFO Insights. I am Shelly, a financial technology consultant at Hyperbots, and I'm very excited to have Mike Vaishnav here with me, an experienced finance executive with experience in global operations, strategic leadership, and a proven track record in driving results across finance, M&A, controllership, and corporate strategy in diverse industries. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mike, to discuss the challenges and strategies for matching invoices with blanket purchase orders. To start, could you briefly explain the key differences between a blanket PO and a specific PO?
Sure, thanks, Sherry. The blanket PO is used for the ongoing purchases with some of the predetermined amount or a quantity, and that been like opened up for specific period of time or a specific amount of the quantity where you're going to receive, but there's not a exact quantity or a price or amount would be there, but there's no exact quantity for specific associated with the specific purchase. What is the specific PO is tied up with the one-time purchase where there is a fixed quantity amount. That's exactly what you want to order it, and making sure that what you order, exact amount of the quantity and amount will come. To give you some specific example on that, when you have a blanket PO, you can say, okay, I want to buy like let's say 1,000 quantity over next 6 months period for let's say $100,000. So that amount comes with it. So you can have it like 10 different 10 different purchases or one purchases where you can have like predetermined quantities on that. And when the quantity will come, you will match with the PO that out of 1,000 quantity, I have received 100 or 200 type of thing. Other example of the blanket PO would be when you have consulting services or when you have any project you want to do it, you open up the blanket PO for specific project that I want to spend X amount of money in this project, consist of this type of thing. And also for the services, I want to hire the consultant or lawyers or an auditors, and this is their annual services like that. So whenever their progress billing will come, you will match with the PO. What's the specific PO? I want to order like 1,000 quantity of a specific product for the specific items only. In that one, it may be a one-time purchase or it may be a couple of purchases, depend how it's going, but it's only for the specific amount of the quantity only.
And given the open-ended nature of blanket POs, how do you approach the matching of incoming invoices with these POs?
That's the kind of sometimes it's a partial matching. It could be challenged sometimes, but you have to match with the specific delivery of the product or service has been rendered. Now, for the product, it's easy to match. As I said in my previous example, that there are 1,000 quantity, you are receiving like 100, 200 type of things. So you can start deducting from that purchase order. But when there is a service, it all depends on the deliverables, like how it's going to be matched. Like some of the invoice has been, how it's been invoiced. So there are service PO, you can match it. If it's a time card or something contractor, you can match with that, oh, X amount of service has been rendered. But it's very difficult to match the service PO, service blanket PO. But for the product blanket PO or goods blanket PO, it's easy to match with the agreed upon terms, specific quantities, and then what if any delivery timings are mentioned on the PO. So it's a bit dynamic process rather than specific PO. You can just match. So this is my specific item. Let's match it that way. So there's a difference between matching on blanket versus specific PO.
And how do you track the cumulative spend and quantities against a blanket PO to ensure the limits are not exceeded?
So there are so many ways to track all those the quantities received. So there is another thing what we call the cumulative tracking system in account payable function, where the accounts payable associate will make sure that they will track based on what the goods has been received it or what the amount has been used from that PO. And you have to continuously monitoring and making sure what's the remaining amount left or remaining quantities left. It helps to ensure that make sure that when we receive the invoices, you will not go above the invoice above the PO amount or a quantity what you have received. It provides the clear visibility for the remaining amount or quantity left. So that's more on the it's kind of some company has like a system which can keep track of, some companies like add-on solution, or some companies keep track of the manually.
And what role do tolerance levels play in the matching process for blanket POs?
So tolerance level is very critical on that. It again all depends on the how the discrepancy is, what's in a price or a quantity, and what the company has decided the threshold on this, what the tolerance level would be. It all depends on the materiality of the item, what you are receiving. The threshold would be a different. Sometimes threshold would be a higher or lower, depends on the like how the product you are receiving. So in that way, anything within the threshold level, the tolerance level could be, it will be automatically approved if the system will set up the limit and say, this is my limit, like 5% plus or minus, then you don't have to have specific approval. But if there's any go above threshold limit, then you need to have go to specific approval and making sure that what the tolerance limit would be and how that is going up on that.
And from your vast experience, could you describe the approval workflow for invoices that exceed the set tolerance levels?
So the tolerance, as I said in my previous question, that tolerance level would be decided based on the threshold criteria. Now it depends on like how you change the tolerance level from the threshold level. So it will be, there are a few ways you can do that. If there is any tolerance level, is you determine that X amount of tolerance level would be there, let's say 5% variation. If it goes to 5% variation, then more than that, then this would, based on the workflow, what company is set up, it will route to the approval for the proper review, proper designated people, proper authority based on that authority limit, approval limit and hierarchy. And it will open up, it will get the approval done from them. If the approval level is more than significantly higher than threshold level, then you need to go through the like more and more executive level approval and making sure that why this threshold level higher than the threshold level. It is justified based on the contractual term, or sometimes what happens that vendor can ship more quantities also just to get rid of their inventory also, and we don't want to accept that. It all depends on the facts and circumstances and case by case. So there is no one size. It all depends on the company's requirement, company's policy, and then approval limit.
And since AI has taken the finance industry by storm, I have to ask, how can AI enhance the efficiency of matching invoices with blanket POs?
So AI is a significantly enhance the efficiency of matching the blanket PO. It will provide the matching cases on the what the accuracy on the POs would be, and what time you need the manual intervention of. The AI can figure out what is the any unusual thing in the PO based on the past history or based on the predictive analysis. And if it is significantly different than expected amount or terms, then it helps to catching it versus like, of course, when you try to, there are quite a few ERP who can match the PO with the invoices or with the quantities different, and it will trigger. But AI can also, with the workflow, with the like AI chat box, everything you can make it process more efficient, more faster, and it will also help to find out what the issues would be. And then also with the predictive analysis, as I said before, it will figure it out that what's going on with the market trend and everything, and whether that could be the reason why quantity would be higher or what could be the reason for.
And since we're talking about efficiencies, what are some best practices you follow to ensure effective matching of invoices with blanket POs?
So there are a few things I would say. Number one is the process. The process I mean to say, whether either your ERP or you're using the add-on tool or you're using AI, you need to create the very robust process and making sure that POs have been matched properly on that. That's the one thing, whether it's a blanket PO or a specific PO. The second thing would be the regular review of the PO matching. So somebody needs to get proper reporting, audit of that, proper reconciliation, and making sure that all those POs have been matched correctly. And also other thing, you can check it with the open orders and making sure that open POs and see why the POs are open and why it's not. Is it open because of the unmatched issue, or is it open because of what the goods have not been received? The other thing would be a clear communication with the vendor also, because if the vendors, quite a few times things happen, the discrepancies happen because of quantity would be received different, some different amount would be in a goods received note, or some different amount would be in an invoice, that would create the delay. So that could be the one of the vendor communication can help you also. And also the more on the transparency on the whole process and compliance side and internal policy. That's the thing. So clear thing would be a clear communication, regular audit trail, reconciliation, and reporting will help over and above regular process of matching the POs.
And finally, how do you ensure compliance and control in the process of matching invoices with blanket POs?
So there are the main thing compliance you can say. First of all, a process is a key. How you match the process. The implementation, the structured process is one of the most important thing. Other than that, you can have like a tracking of the PO. What's the tolerance level you set up? What's the approval workflow is that? And based on that, you can figure out whether how the compliance will be done properly. Also, most of the company will have internal policies on that. So making sure that policies has been followed, internal policies have been followed properly. There should not be the PO have been open for a long period of time. The AI can also help us to detect the unusual or unusual issues happening with this PO, and it will help to adopt the best practices. So that's why there are so many ways control and compliance would be there, but the thing would be mainly either like a internal process would the key thing.
Thank you so much for these insights, Mike. This has been a very informative discussion on the complexities and strategies for managing blanket POs.